The Chicago Bulls got another test this time when they go on the road and take on the Detroit Pistons. Can the Chicago Bulls finally get into the win column? And only 2 wins out of their last 9 games. Can they do it? We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go and get into this content for today, y'all, man. And can the Bulls finally do it, man? Can they avoid another long losing streak? That's what the question is here for the Chicago Bulls. I'm looking at this now, right? And the question that I have for this team is how many 3-game losing streak can the Bulls avoid this year? Is that a sad place to be at with this team? I'm not looking at how many win streaks they can go on. It's just, can you avoid several 3-game losing streaks? That's really what I'm asking this team right now. Can they do that? That could definitely help me. So that's what I'm looking at when it comes down to it. I'm hopeful that this team can get to that place of avoiding the 3-game losing streaks, avoiding multiple of them. We have no guarantee of that, but you definitely hope that could be the case, right? Because this is a team that we suck, y'all. I don't know how to say this, but we suck. This is what it is, man. Hey, y'all dropping y'all dumbest takes. I want to see Haize. You know what? I'm not even going to do it. I'm going to try my best not to roast anybody today. And the main reason why is because everybody hurting right now, bro. Now, some people are still a little special. They're still God's, special children. But outside of that, right? Like, this is a difficult season, man. There's a lot of things that are very frustrating about this Bulls team. We all got to come to some realizations on who this Bulls team is and things like that. Like, yeah, it's really unfortunate, but that's really where we sit right now. A positive take from tonight would be not to concede 140 plus points. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, Sydney, the Pistons are a solid team this year. I think right now they'd be the 7th seed, if I'm not mistaken, the 5th seed. The Pistons are playing really good. No longer can you look at the Pistons and say, they are unloved, right, and uncared for. It's crazy what a difference that a coach that believes in your roster can make for your team, right? And the Pistons are playing really well, really well. By the way, I like Giddy's comments about how he understood if Billy would have played him in the second half. So I hope he understands as well, in my perspective, why he doesn't deserve $27 to $30 million. I love how you link that all back together. You cooked that one really well, my boy. We're back at it again for another dose of absolute pain. Why do we do this to ourselves? Listen, I don't know how to be anything but a diehard fan, right? If I'm going to spend my time rooting for something, I'm going to be a complete and utter diehard fan, not a blind fan, but a diehard fan. And that's where I sit with this team. Like, I'm going to be a diehard Bulls fan for life. But that doesn't mean I don't look at some things with this team and I'm like, y'all suck. It's really how I look at it sometimes. But, it is what it is. I swear we so bad Tiana Trump must tell people she about to give them that Chicago Bull. That's crazy. That's wild. You about to give them not the gok, the Chicago Bulls? That's crazy. That's wild. That's actually pretty damn funny there. I love supporting Chicago and will forever back this team in, but it doesn't mean I like them right now. I didn't even say I hate them right now. Doesn't mean we don't show up. That's a fact. Like, you want better, right? You want better. It's just like let me not say every family, because some family doesn't have it. But a lot of families have that one sibling that just will never get right, but you still love them. You still love them. You still show up for them. You do things for them. You talk to them regularly. But when you go back home, you're like, hey, they never really going to get their life together, huh? They just not going to get their life together. That's where we are right now with this Bulls team. So, yeah, it just is what it is when it comes down to it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? We can't coach for him, even though I think if Billy Donovan ever let me coach for him, we'll actually do a pretty good job. So y'all make sure y'all tag. I don't even know if Billy Donovan has social media. Y'all need to tag Billy Donovan as much as possible and say, Billy, let Haize coach for you. Just go ahead and tell him. Because that should be the case. After taking it up the back end yesterday, I hope the Chicago Bulls show up tonight. That's a choice of words there, my brother. It's a choice of words. Hold on real quick. All right. If the Bulls lose, but Buzelis gets minutes and looks good, I can rest happily. I mean, if that's all it takes you to rest happily, then I'm glad that you can rest that easy with how this team is. Yeah, the Bulls are the cracked out auntie that you love but don't really trust to come over the house. Yeah, but when she does come over the house, she be having those lemon candies in her purse, and you got to pick through them to make sure that they haven't already been opened, but they fire, right? Or the annihilators. Nah, listen, because if you give me purse annihilators, I know they about to chip a tooth. Like, it's just purse annihilators are wild. I do think we can offer Giddey a reasonable price because he's still very young, but his defense is very atrocious for me to give him what he wanted. He can improve his defense, but I need to see it first. I mean, listen, at some point, right? And you know, I don't like to put a cap on players, but even though Giddey's only 22 years old, I just don't see Giddey ever becoming a solid defender. Like, maybe he can become serviceable at best, but like if you're looking for a solid or a plus defender to come out of Josh Giddey, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm ready for Chicago sports to be great again. Name a Chicago team that is making noise. The Sky. The Sky. That's the closest thing to it. It's the closest thing to it. Billy having social media is a no-go zone. Wouldn't be pretty for him. That's honestly pretty true. Take-a-thon has us 8th now. How you feeling about that? It's way too early in the season. I mean, things can go, like, injuries can happen to a team. A trade can happen. It's way too early in the season. I don't really start taking Tankathon seriously, honestly, until after the trade deadline, February. After the trade deadline, which I think is February 6th this year, maybe it's February 8th. That's when you can start looking at Tankathon. Now, I mean, I'm not saying don't look at it and start, seeing how things are trending, but I really start looking at it more seriously about them. How bad was it yesterday for the Bulls? I watched the first quarter and said, oh, bro, if you watched the first quarter, you didn't even see the point where the Bulls got bent over. You saw they just got spit on at that point. You didn't see where they got bent over. It got way worse. The Pistons are looking like they're finally in their improving direction, so can't take this team like any other team lightly. Yeah, you can't take any team lightly for the Bulls. So the Bulls probably trade at the deadline, probably. But we've been able, things that are probable for the Chicago Bulls, likely for the Chicago Bulls, sensible for the Chicago Bulls. You can't look at any of that and be like, all right, bet I feel confident in it. Just can't. I think it was more for my expectations. I need this team to keep their top 10 pick and get something for Levine and Vooch. I think both are possible and viable right now. I mean, yeah, both are possible and viable. It's also possible that the Chicago Bulls make the play-in. It's also possible that Zach LaVine averages 30 points per game for the rest of the season, and he ends up putting single. Like, let's not forget Nikola Mirotic pushing the Bulls to miss out on a lottery pick. Anything's possible. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Yep, sound just like my aunt. Yeah, bro, them personalitators are different, bro. With all the changes that have been made, why do they still play small ball? Any players out of position? What do you mean? First of all, every team plays some small ball. Every team plays players out of position if you think about traditional positions, but it's our roster makeup. There's no way that we can avoid playing players out of the position. There's just no way to do that. That's the makeup of our roster. So to play your best players, they're going to play out of position somewhat. That's just what's going to happen here. Haize, do you think Billy Donovan washes his legs? Why are you thinking about Billy Donovan's legs? Why? That's a bigger concern there, is the fact that of all things in the world of basketball that you can think about right now, you're thinking about Billy Donovan's legs, not Lonzo's knee, which could be something that could be forgivable. You're thinking about Billy Bubblegum Donovan and his legs. Specifically, you said legs, my boy. That's a pause, bro. That means you thinking about the whole entire leg. That's a pause, bro. I can honestly say I've never thought about another man's leg. I haven't. Now I've thought about a basketball player's knee because it's been hurt, but just sit around thinking about another man's legs is wild, bro. Multiple. That's crazy. That's a little strange, my boy. Just a little bit. I'm not saying it's a lot of bit strange, but it's a little bit strange. It may be a lot of bit strange. It may be a lot of bit strange, my boy. But, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna shut up. The key to the season is record versus bottom teams. Yeah, but not when you're a bottom team yourself. Oh wait, I think the WNBA. How do we do? We got third. We got third. I can pinpoint the issue. It's too early, yeah, but I'm tired of sucking. You do a lot of sucking in your free time. To each his own. I'm tired of the Zoe issue, and I feel bad for Zach. Kobe is an all-star. Trade everybody. Bessie, Zach, Kobe, and Zach. Yeah, that's not gonna happen, my boy. You living in an alternate dimension. You're living in an alternative dimension. I don't know where in the multiverse you came from, but hey, listen. I hope that you do all the sucking that you need to do to get back there. I hope that that's what happens for you. The first quarter yesterday was actually okay. We were competitive. Even the first half and second quarter. Anything after that was hot. No, the first quarter was okay. Didn't we go down by 15? Am I not mistaken? Or did that happen? I think that did. You're right. That did happen in the second quarter. You're right. I'm tripping. You're right. Honestly, though, this is the best long term though. So Vooch and Levine gone, and the youth will get some minutes, and we get a decent pick. I mean, unless your team can't draft worth shit. That's another aspect of this as well. And again, I understand. This isn't to say that people are crazy that say maximize or focus on the pick. You're not, right? But I think the part people are missing in all of this is what if we do get a top 10 pick and we're the team that picks the bust, right? That we're the one that out of all the picks in the top 10, we're the team that takes the one in the top 10 that ends up being a bust. That is absolutely a problem, a possibility for this team. Absolutely a possibility. I think the lack of rim protection type players or players in is one of our biggest problems when it comes. It's but listen, here's the thing: you can have the best rim protector in the league. It's not gonna they can only stop so much when you have as weak perimeter. Because again, our points in the paint aren't coming from centers cooking us every single day. They're coming from penetration, right? So yes, having a rim protector can deter some of that. But then again, what about fouls? Other things like how much we give up as far as letting perimeter players get to the paint. It's really hard to for one player to fix all of that. OKC literally has Chet and still plays small ball. They have to do it more, but they're still doing it even when they had Chet on their roster. Yeah. Oh yeah. Listen, every team is going to play some small ball. Every single team is going to. Right. You were 100% right about Brian. You know what? Let's talk about the things real quick that I was right about over the years. When Ball family stands were saying that LiAngelo Ball was some star in the making, and oh my God, he's going to make it out that G League and he's going to be a star. I literally sat here and said, LaMelo Ball is not going to make the league. He didn't do it. Alfonso McKinney, when Bulls fans were so enamored because Alfonso McKinney had one game of shooting like 45% from three. And they're like, we just got to play Alfonso McKinney more. And in the next 5 games, he couldn't hit a three-pointer. I was right about Alfonso McKinney. Kofi Cockburn, when people thought I was crazy because I said the Bulls should not draft Kofi Cockburn and that Kofi Cockburn was going to be out the league, where is he now? Bronny James is the latest victim of me predicting and knowing that this nigga was gonna suck. So, yeah, I'm not Negro Damas, but I'm not far off. I'm not far off. Udoka would have been amazing. I was willing to look past him cheating on Nia. Well, that happened afterwards. That would have happened after we would have gotten him. He was a finalist, and then the Bulls went with Billy Donovan when he became available. So, that's just the thing there, unfortunately. Decent pick, AK dumbass about to be like, yep, give me another lengthy forward that plays defense and has offensive upside. Bro, that's crazy. I fully expect an L. It'll be for a lack of effort. Kai Soto. Listen, a whole nation was mad at me and the Cognac Boys over our Kai Soto take. The whole Philippines hated us for a whole 2 weeks, called us monkeys and everything else. Kai Soto, man, that was a bad take. That's crazy. That doesn't mean you still shouldn't root for an actual good process, Haize, and they may have a bad pick, but saying they shouldn't tank. Listen, tanking is not good. I'm sorry, tanking is not good. No, they shouldn't tank. Now, this team is naturally bad, which is different from tanking. I look at tanking as you have good pieces, but you get rid of those guys to bottom out. That's not what the Bulls have done here. The Bulls are just a bad basketball team. I'm sorry, even if we kept Alex Caruso, we would still be a bad basketball team right now. We still would have been a bad basketball team. So I don't look at it as tanking in some of the ways that other people do, but I get where you're coming from with that. I can understand where you're coming from. But all right, y'all, I know it's a quick pregame show. I got stuff to take care of. I apologize for the shorter pregame show. I love you guys, man. Make sure you guys stay in tune with us. I got to feed these kids. I love you guys. Go Bulls, see Red. I still will be here at halftime and at the postgame show. Love you guys. Go Bulls.